What's up guys, Tucker Singer here with S&S Smithing. Today we're going to make a split cross with no power tools. Alrighty guys, so what we're going to be doing is we're taking some 1/2-inch square bar and we're going to forge a split cross, also known as a Fedrix cross. So basically what we got here is 3-inch long piece of 1/2-inch square bar, and from one end I measured 2 1/4 inches and marked it, and then flipped it 90 degrees, and then measured 1 1/4 inches and then marked it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut all the way up the length this way, and then flip it and then cut the opposite side from end to our mark. So how we're going to do that, usually a lot of people just use an angle grinder or a bandsaw, it's quicker, but I figure this is a very simple project, so let's do it in a very simple way with limited tools. We're going to hot cut it with chisels, and then once that's done we're going to clean it up and make it look pretty. Now the way we're doing this here, I haven't marked out for the extra bit of the top of the cross it's going to need cut off, because you can have a couple different options. Once you get it unfolded, you can use that to draw out into like a hanging hook to make it into a pendant, or all kinds of stuff like that, or you could just nip it off once it's all done. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to decide what we're going to do once that comes around. So first thing we're going to do is just take a cold chisel here and just kind of mark out our lines for our chisels to go. So that way we got a relatively So there we go, marked it on both sides so I can still cut to center, basically. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is get her heated up, pull out our hot cut, and start splitting it apart. Alrighty guys, let's start getting her cut up. Pretty bright in the shop today, so the extra metal looks pretty cold. We got this end split up. I'll go ahead and get another heat in her. Forge her shut a bit, just that way it's easier to chisel the other cut. Alright, she's all shut up. Now, next thing we're going to do is start chiseling the other end around to come through, and then we'll start opening her up after that. Alright, I forgot to press record whenever I finished splitting this side, but pretty sure it's just self-explanatory. Now, the big thing you want to try to do whenever you're doing this, depending on the look you want to go for, is try to cut from both sides. It'll give you like a beveled bit on the inside, and the rag will be easy to clean up with just a file. You know, it's just a little bit of a lip there. So, next thing we're going to go ahead and do is start opening this up, and the fact that we started cutting it with a chisel helps open it up already, but it also takes longer than cutting it with an angle grinder and a bandsaw in about 2 minutes. So it's just that. So let's go ahead, get the Hot Cut Hardy in here, and then start opening her up. Alright, we're just going to open her up on over our slits here. Alright, throw her in for another heat. Most of the way opened up, just got to straighten up the bits a little bit. This up here will probably be the end that we cut off, so we'll tinker with straightening it a bit more while I got this bit to hold on to, and then we'll get on to cutting that off and detailing the cross. Alright guys, this week's channel shout out goes to Howard Blacksmiths. He's only got I think he's got maybe less than 100 subscribers right now, but he has a lot of great content. Right now he's going over structural ironwork or decorative, like fancy scrolls for railings and things like that, some decorative ironwork. And he's done a lot of tools and hammers and stuff like that, and he's got a lot of cool stuff, so go check him out. I have a link in the cards and in the description. Alright guys, let's get back at it. Alrighty guys, we got her all spaced out and everything. Next thing we're going to go ahead and do is just mark how much we're going to be cutting off this top bit here. About that much looks alright. Go ahead and give her a mark. There we go. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and finish cutting that off. Alrighty guys, so now we got our cross made up here. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and forge a bevel and a ridge in it. That way it comes down kind of like triangular, and that'll just make it look a little nicer and less flat. So we'll go ahead and do that, then once we do that, we'll go ahead and flare out the ends of each end of the cross, and she'll be done. Okay, so first thing we're going to go ahead and do is just start forging in our little bevel. Next thing I'm going to do here is straighten it back out because we've got a kink in her, and then that'll be it. Alrighty, so I got everything all forged up. Just gonna go ahead and scrub her down with a wire brush real good and come right back. Alrighty guys, she's all finished up. So you can see we got our little edge there and our bevels on either side on each little bit. There's still a little spot in it that's kind of crooked, but that's on fault of my cuts weren't so super accurate, so one side was a little thicker than the other, so it's harder to even them up. But it's acceptable for this video to show you don't need any power tools to make one that looks half decent. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, forge your fate.